Hi, this video is going to be all about my new plugin for DaVinci Resolve, Proto V3. It's a high energy glow and distortion effect. I'm very excited to talk about it, but what this video will specifically be is a comparison between the full paid version for Proto V3 and Proto V3 Lite. I do have a much larger walkthrough of just the full V3 version if you're interested in that, but this video is specifically about the question of what's different between the versions, and it's up to you to decide whether all those cool features are worth it and you want to upgrade. And for anyone wondering, Proto V2 and actually V1 will still be available. I am sort of packaging them with the V3 Lite version, so if you want access to V2, you will still be able to get it, but that will just be living now on the store page that is V3. I'm actually just updating the V2 store page. So maybe some of you saw this video after having V2 and now you have the free version of V3 and you're wondering what's up. Let's talk basics. One of the big perks of Proto V3 and V3 Lite is the express installation. V2 used some powerful external third-party tools in the system of making all the effects that could do, but it made installation a little bit more complicated. Plenty of people had issues with it, but for version V3, I've made it a simple DRFX, which is the same file format, the same folder that I use for all my other dozens of free and paid plugins and presets for DaVinci Resolve. All you have to do is double click and that will load into DaVinci Resolve. It is asking me if I want to overwrite because I have an installed version of Proto V3. I have the full version. If I overwrite this, then it will replace that with the free version. But if you're going from the free to the paid, it will replace the free version with the paid version, hopefully keep things clean on your end. And then if I have some space on my timeline, I can come to Effects, Generator, Sterling Supply Co, and I have Proto V3 Lite, drag and drop it onto my timeline, and we have some cool energy effects. This is also a change from V2. Proto V3 Lite is only available as a generator. It lives on your timeline just like text or titles. Here's a first big change from the free version to the paid version of Proto. The paid version has a generator like this, but it also has a dedicated effect version. In the full version, it generally has many more options for working with photo or video, and one of those is the effect version that you can drag and drop right on a clip in your timeline to get it, working with all these cool systems. I'll talk more about that when we get to it, but first let's look at what is here in the free version. It starts off with some text, and right at the top, above this upgrade to V3 button, if you want to do that, you can do it, is our presets. The free version has 5 included presets. This Jewel plugin, Wobbly, Still, which is, a still version, Tune, a cool 2D flat, not that glowy version, and then Wanda. Sort of tighter, more dense energy options. That's fun, but if I very quick jump over to the full version, Proto V3, I have many more presets. I've got Wobbly, I've got Wibbly and Wobbly in the free version, if you want one or the other. We've got Streaks, we've got Groovy, we've got Spectre. We have 25. There's a lot of them. I like them a lot. The free version only has 5, but here's the big thing about Proto. All of these presets are made just using the style controls you have access to. All that to say, the paid version has easy access to those presets, but if there's something you really love, dive into those style controls and you can probably recreate it yourself once you get a real clear understanding of the systems. Underneath the presets, we have source controls, and in the free version, we have a simple line, text, ellipse, rectangle, and a custom polygon. And another big change in V3 over V2, if I come to my viewer and to this drop-down and click Fusion Overlay, then now, while this polygon source is selected, I actually have these points, and I can change this path and even add this path right in this viewer, and there isn't anything else in this viewer making this busy. If I change this over to ellipse, we see just the on-screen controls for that ellipse. V2, if you want to do anything in the viewer, it was much messier and harder to navigate. I handled paths in a different way, but also that gets to another big thing in V3. Look at this. I have these polygon, and it really cleaned up my inspector over here. If I change it back to text, we have all the custom tools just when you're using text as a source. So both the viewer and the inspector wildly cleaned up from V2 to V3. Now, if we compare that to the paid version, we see the other sort of really big thing that's different from the free to paid. On the paid version, we have multiple different polygon options, one that's automatically sharp, one that's smooth, and then a custom polygon that lets the user actually like draw a custom path or click to add points to a custom path right in this inspector. Plenty of options there. But we also have these extra options that make Proto, the full paid version of Proto v3, work really seamlessly with images and video in a few different ways. We have this loader option, which by default loads up like this image I included in the preset just of this arrow, but you can point this at any image on your computer using this file name search. But we also have the media pool. If I open up my media pool, drag over a video clip, it will look at that video clip and automatically outline it. We have some extra controls here, these external source underlay options. Click that, and it will also show the video and show you like how it's underlining things. If I change this to background, it's black for now, but you'll see later on my timeline, I have that same video clip. If I drag this generator over that video clip, it will look at whatever is underneath it and go through that same process. And then we have custom fusion. This is really next level stuff, but plenty of people like using Proto like as a tool in larger fusion comps. If I click custom fusion, click this button to open the fusion page. It is sort of like generating this error for now because I have not plugged in anything. But if I add this ellipse outline, add it to this open input on Proto v3, now it's this big glowing circle. I can uncheck that solid, pull up the border width, and change these in any way. So I can even have multiple masks over each other. Whatever you pipe into Proto, into this mask input, it will just use that as a custom source. I don't want to get too off on a tangent about all these cool other features that are paid only, other to say that working with images and video for v3 is exclusive, or it's at least easily an option exclusive to the full paid version. The free version just has these default sort of like basic shape or text inputs, but I know lots of people use Proto just on text, and it's pretty full featured just when working with text. Of course, I went back and forth on where to put the line from free to paid, and I think working with like images and video in these fun expanded ways is a decent line for this full paid version. But that is not the only line. There's still more, because say on this full version I go back to that loader, get rid of that source underlay. After the style controls, we have more general effects controls. If I am on an external source like this loader or images or video, then I have masking controls where I can just sort of add a general rectangle or ellipse mask that I can then move around, especially useful on video. If I change this back to background, you'll see how that is going as I move this around. It's a general mask. On something like text, I can show off on the free version. For these sources, the masking controls are masking the internal or external glows for both the core and the aura. That's what I named sort of this tighter glowy space, and then this extra outside texture. Again, watch the full video for more of a breakdown on all these style controls. There are lots of cool stuff in there, but that's the same in both free and paid. But for these presets, both in free and paid, if you are on a source that works with it, you can mask the core or the aura both. You can see, oh, it's sort of gotten rid of the effect on the inside of the text. If you click invert, it only shows it on the inside. I especially like the look if you don't mask the core. So the core is bright, but it only shows the glow on the inside or on the outside. Some of the presets specifically use this masking effect. It's pretty cool. Then you also have basic transform effects. And if you want it over a solid background, you can do that in the free version. In the paid version, we have an extra effect, tracking controls. We have tracking built in. If I change this to a little arrow, I come to my post effect controls, scale this down. I'm going to toss this over a different video clip, just some game footage that has worked well with me in the past. If I come to tracking controls, I am in the full paid version of Proto now. If I click tracker preview, it will get rid of that glower area. And if I toggle on tracker, we will get this sort of point pop-up. If it errors out a little bit, you might just need to find a slightly different point on your timeline. I might look into that. But we have this sort of text box tracker. If I bring this over to this little fishing pot over here, I can track forward and backwards. If you mouse over your screen, you can see, how that's moving around. We'll see how it does with this track. But then if I turn the tracker preview off now, it'll have that little arrow. And if I come to my post effect controls, rotate this, scale it down, and point it right at that little fishing pot, you'll see, oh, check that out. It is tracked to that little fishing pot right on the edit page. And extra built-in effects like that tracking are exclusive to the paid version. So if you have something you want cool and glowy and you want it very easily tracked in a single effect, maybe that's a reason to jump up to the full paid version. But those are the big differences. The full paid version of Proto V3 has 25 included presets right now at launch. I don't know quite what my future plans are for presets. It has expanded source options, including different built-in polygon options, as well as much easier use for working with images or photos in a few different regards. It has that expanded custom fusion option, very easy to use on the fusion page, and it has fun stuff like built-in tracking right on the edit page. But like I said, the free version does have the whole Proto engine. These style controls are extremely powerful, and like I said, they did generate all these different presets that you get access to in the paid version. So these are just like demos of what the engine can do by changing all these different distortion and aura controls and texture controls. If you want more info on that, definitely click through in the description or the comments to the full in-depth walkthrough of these controls that I will have released earlier this week, as we are in this fun release Proto week. It's awesome, but you still get all of this in the free version. And between like the cool effects, the ease of installation, the vastly improved cleaned up inspector and source viewer controls, I think V3, even as a paid version, is a definite step up from V2. And the few areas where you can do less, like how V2 could work with images or video in different way, you still have access to V2 completely for free if you want the new toys in V3, as well as the ease of use of working with those images and video. Then you can always choose to support me by upgrading to the full version of V3. I'm super happy to get this out to everyone. So many people have loved V2. I hope they will love V3. I hope you do too. Let me know what you think, I guess. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.